Xill und hat dann angefangen zu erzählen.
Also Xill, wenn jemand mich mit dem sexuellen Missbrauch von Kindern in Verbindung bringt, dann mahne ich ihn ab.
Und hat Dinge gesagt wie, ja, hat mir vorgeworfen oder mich in Verbindung gebracht mit Kindesmissbrauch, bla bla bla. Hat dann gesagt, ich habe ihn ja nicht mal richtig weggestrikt, das ist ja nur ein Video einschränken zu lassen wegen Verleumdung, Defamation Complaint auf YouTube.
Ist auch nicht mal ein richtiger Strike, es ist ein Runternehmen wegen Diffamierung.
Also exakt das, was bei meinem ersten Video und was auch öffentlich ist, passiert ist. Als ich das sehe, gehe ich natürlich davon aus, du redest vorher von mir, du redest hinterher von mir und du beschreibst eine Situation, die 1:1 bei mir passiert ist und du nennst keine weiteren Namen, dritte Namen, ging ich davon aus, dass er mich meinte. Und auch die Zuschauer, die das gesehen haben, haben mir danach geschrieben, dass sie dachten, dass ich gemeint bin. Und auch die Leute in den Reactions dachten, dass ich gemeint bin. Aber er meinte Kianush. Und als Begründung, warum er Kianush nicht genannt hat, ist, weil er die ganze Sache nicht größer machen wollte und Kianush keine Bühne geben wollte, angeblich seine Aussagen. Ich wusste das ja aber nicht. Deswegen habe ich gesagt, hey, what the fuck, wie ekelhaft, warum wirfst du mir vor, dass ich dir das vorgeworfen hätte? Das Video ging online, Tobi hat mir nicht geschrieben, Tobi hat keine Story gemacht, Tobi hat es im Livestream nicht erwähnt, er hat gar nichts dazu gesagt. Und dann hat er einem gemeinsamen Bekannten von uns geschrieben und meinte, guck mal, Maestro lügt da. Ich meinte nicht Maestro, ich meinte Kianush. Und dieser gemeinsame Bekannte hat mir dann geschrieben, morgens um 8 Uhr, 2 oder 3 Tage später, und hat geschrieben, ey, der meinte da gar nicht dich. Er meinte Kianush. Ich habe mir gedacht, what the fuck, warum spricht man den Namen dann nicht aus? Und warum sagt man das in einem Zusammenhang, wo man vorher und nachher über mich redet und erzählt eine Situation, die 1:1 auch bei mir, zugetroffen hat, außer halt dieser Vorwurf, den ich ihm nie gemacht habe. Aber ist ja auch egal, wenn er mich nicht meinte. Ich bin auf gar keinen Fall der Typ, der möchte, dass über jemand anderes etwas in der Öffentlichkeit steht, was nicht der Wahrheit entspricht. Also bin ich direkt an dem Morgen, ich habe meinen Sohn fertig gemacht, ihn zur Kindertagesmutter gebracht, bin danach ins Büro gefahren und habe direkt die Stelle rausgeschnitten. Um 11 Uhr war die Szene raus. Innerhalb von 3 Stunden habe ich das abgefrühstückt. So, das Ganze ist 3-4 Wochen her. Es vergehen 3-4 Wochen und Tobi schickt mir eine Abmahnung deswegen. Er sagt, ja, du hast es zwar rausgeschnitten, aber trotzdem unterschreibe, dass du das in der Zukunft nicht nochmal sagen wirst und bezahle diese 1.500 Euro. Warum soll ich das nochmal wiederholen in der Öffentlichkeit? Warum sollte ich einen Vorwurf, wo auch mein Name in diesem Zusammenhang genannt wird und der sexuelle Missbrauch von Kindern, warum soll ich was streuen? Es ist doch auch die Unwahrheit. Warum soll ich es rausschneiden dann? Tobi weiß genau, dass ich das nicht nochmal sagen werde, aber er will einfach nur abfacken. Er will mir Kosten produzieren, Kopfschmerzen produzieren und schickt deswegen eine Abmahnung. So, jetzt könnte ich wieder darauf antworten und sagen, du hast nicht die Person vorgelesen, an die sich das richtet. Sogar den Ersteller, da hast du Xill gesagt, nicht Xiltron. Später hast du den Namen mal erwähnt, aber in dem Zusammenhang, wo du gerade eine Antwort lieferst, sagst du nur Xill. Was soll Xill heißen? Ich dachte, das ist wie immer, wenn Tobi redet, ist ja immer mal wieder, fängt er ein Wort an, dann unterbricht er, dann fängt er ein anderes Wort an. Hätte ja sein können. Ich kann ja nicht riechen und ich kann in einem 2 Stunden Livestream nicht jeden Kommentar durchlesen. Ich könnte all das behaupten und dann geht das vor Gericht und vielleicht sagt das Gericht trotzdem, ja, okay, aber er meinte ja nicht dich, ne? Und auch wenn du es rausgenommen hast, Butz hier, bezahl mal. Ich habe gar keinen Bock auf diese Kopfschmerzen. Also habe ich meinem Anwalt gesagt, unterschreib das. Unterschreib das, schick ihm das. Ist doch falsch gewesen. Ich denke nicht, dass ich was dafür kann. Und ich frage mich auch, du sagst ja immer, wenn der mich erreichen will, kann der mich anrufen. Der hat ja meine Nummer. Ich sag dir das schon die ganze Zeit. Du hättest auch einfach mir schreiben können oder mich anrufen können oder noch besser, eine öffentliche Story posten können. Das stimmt nicht, was Maestro hier an dieser Stelle sagt. Da meinte ich ihn gar nicht mit. Einen Beitrag im Livestream mal erwähnen. Ich hätte es doch direkt rausgenommen. Ich habe es ja auch direkt rausgenommen. Du bist über Dritte gegangen. Der Film dahinter ist, Kosten zu produzieren. Anwaltlich jemanden juristisch abzufacken. So, und jetzt kommen wir zu einem sehr wichtigen Punkt. Ihr habt alle mitbekommen, wie viel Quatsch Tobi in der Öffentlichkeit erzählt hat. Man kann eine einstweilige Verfügung innerhalb von einem Monat beantragen. Wie viele einstweilige Verfügungen ich hätte durchdrücken können bei Tobi und ihn sinnlos abfacken können und ihm sinnlos Kosten produzieren können. Sogar bei 1:1 dem gleichen Sachverhalt. Ich gebe euch ein Beispiel. Tobi hat in seinem ersten Video, wo er sagt die schmutzige Wahrheit über Maestro.
Die erlogene Behauptung nach dem Sprecher der IDF, Arye Shalekar, werde durch die Staatsanwaltschaft gefahndet. Dass das eine dreiste Lüge war, wurde recht schnell bekannt.
Später haben wir festgestellt, die Staatsanwaltschaft hat nach Arye Shalekar gefahndet. Niemand hat von Haftbefehl gesprochen. Auch Tobi sagt in diesem Zitat nicht Haftbefehl, er sagt, die erlogene Behauptung nach dem Sprecher der IDF, Arye Shalekar, werde durch die Staatsanwaltschaft gefahndet. Dass es eine dreiste Lüge war, wurde schnell bekannt. Es war eben keine dreiste Lüge. Ich habe dann das Schreiben von der Staatsanwaltschaft gezeigt und dann später sagt er Folgendes. Spaß.
In einem späteren Video hat er leider recht. Er hat tatsächlich nicht von einem Haftbefehl gegen Ari Shalika gesprochen. Da habe ich mich einfach geirrt durch das Verfahren zu Shoyoka, die deswegen verurteilt worden ist. Das habe ich einfach durcheinander gebracht. Es ging nur um eine Fahndung zur Aufenthaltsermittlung.
Du hast dich nicht geirrt. Du hast da, zu dem Zeitpunkt, ist ja richtig wiedergegeben. Du hast ja von Fahndung selber auch gesprochen. Später hast du gesagt, es gibt auch keinen Haftbefehl und so, aber das ist ja nebensächlich. Es ging ja hier um die Fahndung. Du hast dich nicht geirrt, du hast gelogen. Und jetzt hast du zugegeben, dass du in der Öffentlichkeit eine Tatsache falsch wiedergegeben hast und entschuldigst dich dafür. 1:1 das Gleiche. Was du jetzt gemacht hast, hätte ich auch machen können. Abmahnung schicken, sagen, das ist falsch und du hättest dann 1K, 1,5K, keine Ahnung, an meinen Anwalt bezahlen müssen. Hast du was davon? Hab ich was davon? Nein. Der Anwalt freut sich doch, oder? In deinem Fall jetzt, hast du was davon? Nein. Auch dein Anwalt freut sich, oder? Du kriegst doch kein Geld. Das heißt, obwohl ich das nicht wieder mache, obwohl ich das selber rausgeschnitten habe, du hast mich nie darauf hingewiesen. Und du hast dir gedacht, du hast zwar nichts davon, das, was für dich wichtig ist, dass das nicht mehr im Internet ist, ist ja schon eingetreten. Aber weißt du was, ich drücke dem jetzt nochmal Kosten von 1,5K auf. Das hast du dir doch gedacht, weil du hast doch nichts davon. Deswegen habe ich das damals nicht gegen dich gemacht. Ich habe davon nichts. Das einzige Ergebnis dessen wäre, dass du Geld verlierst. Das ist doch 1:1 der gleiche Sachverhalt. Du hast was gesagt, hast später gemerkt, das ist falsch. Der Unterschied ist, ich habe das von mir aus direkt rausgeschnitten. Du hast das 1 Monat lang bestritten. Du hast 1 Monat lang im Internet erzählt, das war die Wahrheit. Und bist später eingeknickt. Wie viel ich bis heute schon rausgenommen habe an der einen oder anderen Stelle, einfach aus Kompromissbereitschaft. Weil ich mir denke, weißt du was, man braucht das alles nicht vor Gericht zu klären. Aber du hast Bock drauf. Und dann lügst du kackendreist und sagst sowas hier.
Ich habe auch Besseres zu tun, als mich mit solchen Kerlen vor Gericht zu streiten. Und ich habe ehrlicherweise keine Lust auf ein zweites Shoyoka-Verfahren. Als ob ich derjenige bin, der ihn vor Gericht zerren will. Nö. Er hat seine Anwälte losgeschickt. Nicht ich. Und auf diese juristische Ebene habe ich das ja nicht gezogen. Da wurde ich ja angegriffen. Da habe ich mich ja nur gewehrt. Also, wer hat zum Beispiel jemanden als erstes angezeigt? Ich nicht.
Du hast als erstes rechtliche Schritte eingeleitet. Du ziehst das eins nach dem anderen vor Gericht, schickst Abmahnungen einen nach den anderen. Dementsprechend, Leute, Dankeschön für die ganze Unterstützung unter der Spendensammlung. 15K sollten erreicht werden. Die wurden innerhalb von 1-2 Tagen erreicht. Vielen lieben Dank. Mir tut's im Herzen weh, dass solche Gelder überhaupt in solche Prozesse fließen müssen, anstatt an gute Organisationen. Der liebe Tobi, dem ist das anscheinend egal. Der sagt sich lieber, weißt du was, ich sammle Spenden, der sammelt Spenden und dann geht das ganze Geld an Gerichte und Anwälte, anstatt ich dem eine Nachricht schreibe und sage, ey, das passt nicht, nimm das raus. Daran sehen wir, Tobi verbrennt sein Geld, mein Geld, euer Geld. Und das für Sinnlosigkeiten. Ich wiederhole es nochmal. Die Frage, warum warst du auf einer Demonstration, wo Ausrufe von Terrororganisationen gerufen worden sind? Hast du was mit Terrororganisationen zu tun? Nicht beantwortet. Was haben wir noch alles? Pornos für Minderjährige, Steuerhinterziehung, Lügen über den Nahen Osten, Betrug an der Hochschule und. Die Liste hört ja nicht auf. All das interessiert nicht, der stützt sich so auf 1-2 kleine Punkte und zieht das seit 2 Monaten in die Länge und verbrennt einfach sinnlos Geld. Das ist das Update zu der jetzigen Situation. Ich arbeite an Teil 12. Ich denke, das wird in den nächsten 1-2 Wochen kommen, aber gleichzeitig habe ich noch viele weitere andere Verpflichtungen, wie meinen Vollzeitjob, der jeden Tag zwischen 10 und 12 Stunden frisst. Frau, Kind, Familie etc. pp. Dementsprechend seid nachsichtig, seid geduldig, habt Spaß und freut euch auf Teil 12. Und eine kleine Bitte für euch am Ende, diese Videos werden ja auch unterstützt von Sponsoren, zum Beispiel. Das ist ja auch ein finanzieller Faktor, wie ich mir überhaupt es leisten kann, diese Videos zu drehen, denn diese Spendensammlung, ich darf das ja privat nicht nutzen, das ist ja gebunden an Anwaltskosten. Und ich habe durch diese Zeit, die ich reingesteckt habe in diese Videos, dickes Minus gefahren. Wenn ihr mich unterstützen wollt, dann geht gerne jetzt auf www.datteldealer.de, denn dort gibt es die besten Datteln, die ich jemals gegessen habe und aktuell sogar reduziert und mit dem Code Maestro10 kriegt ihr nochmal Rabatt drauf. Ihr kriegt da aber auch Sonnenblumenkerne, frei von E-Stoffen, auch für Schwangere geeignet, salzig, aber nicht mit Salz an der Kruste, dass eure Lippen auch besonders zu dieser kalten Jahreszeit nicht aufplatzen oder beschädigt werden. Ihr findet da Schwarzkümmelöl, ihr findet da Matcha, ihr findet da ganz viele Sachen, geht da gerne hin, kauft gerne mit dem Code Maestro10 ein bei Datteldealer, damit unterstützt ihr indirekt auch mich. Mit den Worten, ich wünsche euch allen ein wunderschönes Wochenende. Passt auf euch auf und Peace.
Erkenne deine Fehler. Erlösung. Ein Beschwörer hat das Spiel verlassen. Durch Licht oder Finsternis.
ich wirklich mein einziger Verbündeter?
Erstes Blut.
Mein Aufstieg war das mein Schicksal. Mein Krieg gegen den Krieg ist noch nicht vorbei.
Ein Beschwörer ist zurück im Spiel.
Ich muss sie dazu bringen, mir zuzuhören. Kein Entkommen! Noch kannst du fliehen! Vergeltung! Die Überheblichkeit von Göttern und Menschen. Infernale Dämmerung! Keine Zeit für Gnade! Die Götter, die Welt, die Zukunft. Der Tod kann nicht unser Schicksal sein. Ich bin deine Abrechnung! Wenn der Frieden ein Opfer verlangt, dann werde ich es erbringen. Es mag ein paar Leben kosten, doch es wird Generationen retten. Ob Tageslicht oder Finsternis, mein Weg bleibt gleich.
Ein Gegner wurde getötet.
Ein Schritt zurück, um voranzukommen. Füge dich!
Ein Verbündeter wurde getötet.
Sterbliche Herzen streben nach Frieden.
Ein Verbündeter wurde
Göttliche
getötet.
Gestalten sorgen für Gerechtigkeit. Meine sterbliche Seite verdient eine kurze Pause.
Show
me the
you, my
capital
understanding,
before I
I thought
did.
that you were convicted for this. Didn't you lose in front of a jury on this?
If you consider a jury that during their questioning,
Yep, I do.
right, and
I do.
said
I do.
that-
So we can, yeah, I do consider that a legitimate jury. Yes, and you.
I'll ask you, like I asked the prosecutors and defense team, what evidence do you have that I knew that was going to happen? Because you said it as an absolute. So what evidence do you have that I thought that was going to happen, because my messages in court, even given by the prosecution, doesn't show that.
I'm just trying to see if these messages are real. So when you posted a message that said, fuck unity, no quarter, raise the black flag, was that a message that you posted in a group chat on November 12,
I posted
2020?
it on social media, yeah.
When
If
you
I'm
said,
guilty
if
of celebrating
Biden
it,
steals this
then
election,
yes.
the
And
Proud
that was
Boys
in
will be
social
political
media.
prisoners. We won't go quietly, I promise. Is that a thing that you posted?
Yeah.
No, you need to
Yeah.
remember the American people are at war with you. No Trump, no peace, no quarter, right? These are your messages.
I hope
Over.
one day when you face any assault charges or anything, or sexual assault charges, that you're convicted of a jury that hates your guts. Then they put me in the jury, because the first thing I'm going to do is find you guilty.
Well, it's not even that. It's just I don't even know. I'm just lost after what we were.
We know.
witnessing
We know.
now.
That was probably the truest thing you've said in this conversation. Yeah.
But listen, I do.
Wait, hold on, wait. I have a question. One question. So just to be clear, that's not fucking true. If somebody was standing in front of me in a parking lot,
Okay, I'm
and
gonna read the code.
That's great. Go find the code and read it from start to finish. And if you're goofing off with a friend in a parking lot, and he's in front of your car, and you drive a little bit, and he pulls out a gun and starts killing you, he would not clear that. You're absolutely fucked at that point.
Did he
Hold on,
die?
what if you shoot?
No, he didn't die because she wasn't aiming the car at him.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of WIC TV, a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, have we got a show for you tonight? Recently, the White House have put out a January 6th page where it claims that the Democrats are the real insurrectionists. And it goes through a timeline of events that a lot of people contest. Dev and Destiny have agreed to take on all comers on this and to talk about whether or not it was appropriate for the White House to make these updates, whether these updates were accurate or not. And we have a whole host of people to talk about it with us, including Enrique Tario, Gibbs, we got Grid, we got Kung Fu Joe, all sorts of people. We're going to get into it. I guess, yeah, that's the first question for you guys, and we'll just kind of get into it. Was the White House's portrayal of January 6th on their website accurate? Why or why not? Anyone can start. Go ahead.
I guess just on some basic language stuff, can we all agree that Trump never, in any part of that ellipse speech, he never called for peace or told people to be peaceful. He never said any of those words, because he used explicitly at least once, and he never explicitly said, you guys need to be peaceful. You need to go march
Twitter
peaceful.
did stop him from saying be peaceful. As soon as he said we need to be peaceful, then they deleted his tweet, canceled his account, whatever, and made it impossible for him to actually proclaim please go be peaceful. So that's one thing that I think we can agree happened.
Well, that's cool. So I'm going to ask my question again. So on the speech in the ellipse, the hour speech or whatever, he never told people to be peaceful. That was never a command he gave. That was never a thing that he explicitly said ever. That was just never a thing that was said, but for some reason people repeat this. I just want to make sure we all agree on that at the ellipse speech, he never told people you need to be peaceful. You guys should be peaceful. He never said anything. He didn't say that.
Yeah, you're being really narrow with that. Yep. That's
well, I mean, like afterwards, people went to the Capitol and they, at the very least, rioted, so they weren't peaceful. So yeah, I would like to. I think if we're going to make a White House,
well, you're talking about his rhetoric,
website,
though. You're changing the where we're looking.
Well, no,
You're saying, well, this one part of the one speech that he gave this one day.
Are you asking if he said specifically the word peaceful?
No.
Like,
If he told people,
nitpicking one word.
So on the WhiteHouse.gov website, they claim, they claim that hold on, let me look for it explicitly. So it says,
hey, just
he stresses
to the host,
the need to fight for the country.
I can cuss here, right? Is there certain words I can't say?
Just no, nothing that would get me demonetized. So no F slurs, no hard R's, nothing like that. Okay.
Cool.
So he stresses
Other than that, you can call retard, fuck, all that shit. So yeah.
Okay.
So on the White House website, it's Save America rallies, their second timestamp. It says he stresses the need to fight for the country through strength and determination, explicitly calling for peaceful protest. I just want to be clear, that never happened. That part is a lie. Unless at the very least we can agree that that's a lie.
So he never said the words peacefully and patriotically during that speech.
No,
he never told people to go do that. He said that I know you'll go marching peacefully and patriotic or whatever, but he never explicitly said. He never called for. That was never explicitly called for.
That's super nuanced, dude. If he says like peacefully and patriotically. I think that that's the key, and I think there was a lot of people, including myself, pissed off that day. And to kind of hit what the question for the host, for 4 years we've been fed nothing but like bullshit and slop from the Biden administration about what happened on January 6th. Now that January 6th are actually out, we get to say our piece, and I think people get to see both sides of the story, and they get to not make a binary choice. Maybe they agree with me on some things, maybe they agree with Destiny on other things, or other liberals. And I find it fascinating now that like we're nitpicking words when he's explicitly said that peacefully and patriotically make your way over to the Capitol, and then on top of that,
He didn't say that. So what you just said, you used the word explicitly. I don't know if you know what explicitly means, but because again, like we just want one fact at a time, just one fact at a time. Right?
So he goes ahead and on top of that, his tweets get deleted, and you silence the president of the United States right after that. I don't think it was ever his intention to tell anybody. I sat through courts through 6 months. I don't think at any point did he think people were going to storm into the Capitol and storm the building or do anything. I think he wanted people to protest outside. And as somebody that,
That's
again,
cool. Okay,
was
so I'm just
planning
going to
on
read
being
the. I'm
there.
going to read the sentence here. Okay. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. He didn't tell them you need to be peaceful. You need to go and be peaceful. You need to go and not commit. He didn't explicitly say that ever. He just said, "I know you'll be marching over soon."
But who cares? Like, what is the?
You can say it's not a big deal. You can say it's not a big deal.
Don't shoot it.
You can say it's not a big deal. That's fine. I'm just saying. I just want to be clear.
Can I give the
You can't prove a negative.
One at a time. Destiny, finish your question, then Enrique can answer it, and I know Tim wants in too. Is that your name? I'm sorry, Tim.
The full quote is, at the Ellipse, President Trump speaks to hundreds of thousands of supporters, detailing evidence of election fraud and urging the crowd to march to the Capitol to, quote, peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard, end quote. There is no urging the crowd there. He just says he'll know they'll do it. There is no urging. It's about an hour-long speech where he talks about voter fraud. He says we need to fight like hell or we're going to lose our country. He calls everybody in Congress weak. He's here to protest the results of the election. So I just think it's a little bit rich to pretend that there were explicit calls for peace in this. There wasn't. And this was like one thing he said almost at the beginning of the speech. Yeah.
Hey, every time you leave the house, like when you were a kid and you just got your driver's license, does your mom say, "Oh, don't crash"? Like it's retarded to even think that he has to say that every time that he comes out. He said,
maybe he doesn't have to say it every time. No, he doesn't have to say it every time he comes out. But maybe he should say it when he's called a bunch of people to Washington D.C. to protest the results of the election. Maybe that would be a good thing to say when he's kind of gotten everybody riled up, and he's also saying you need to fight like hell or you're going to lose your country. Maybe it would be a good idea to really stress the peaceful part, especially considering what happened afterwards, right?
Like he did. He said, I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. That's his speech.
Yeah, that is a line that he said, yes. But that's...
Isn't you saying he just didn't say don't be
I'm
peaceful?
saying he didn't explicitly call them to do it. And I would argue there's stronger calls explicitly for violence when he says, and we fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. That seems a little bit more of a command, and it's at the end of the speech as opposed to the other thing that was towards the beginning of the speech. It's an hour-long speech. I'm just saying there weren't all these explicit calls for peace. He didn't say, you guys need to remain peaceful, nothing like that. He just said, I know you'll be marching over there peacefully and patriotically, make your voice heard. That's it. It's not a huge point. You don't lose the whole argument by giving. I just want to make sure we're on the same
Do you think that he knew? Do you think that he knew that the crowd was going to peacefully and patriotically march over there? Like, he didn't give a marching order like, hey, go storm the Capitol. Hey, go stop the certification election. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy is what he's saying. Like, you don't expect the crowd. I didn't expect the crowd to do that. I know a lot of people, a lot of liberals think that I went over there to go stop the certification election. I wasn't going to do that. And I didn't need the president to tell me to be peaceful and patriotically. I was already both of those things.
Well, so you did know that the Capitol was going to be broken into. It had already happened by the time that speech was over, right? The Proud Boys had literally organized to do this. You guys were involved in breaking through all three of the outer barriers, and then finally with Dominic to break into the actual Capitol with the riot shield. So you did know that was going to happen in advance, right? You were in the Capitol the night before and you left because there was a warrant out for your arrest. So yeah.
So I'll ask you, like I asked the prosecutors and defense team, what evidence do you have that I knew that was going to happen? Because you said it as an absolute. So what evidence do you have that I thought that was going to happen? Because my messages in court, even given by the prosecution, doesn't show that. It shows that I'm like, holy shit, this is happening. I probably, actually, as a matter of fact, Destiny, you probably found out
That's
about
what it showed
storming
you?
the
My
Capitol
understanding,
before
I
did.
thought that you were convicted for this. Didn't you lose in front of a jury on this?
If you consider a jury that during their questioning,
Yep, I do.
right, and
I do.
said
I do.
that-
So we can, yeah, I do consider that a legitimate jury. Yes, and you were convicted on
yeah,
that
you
case.
could
So I do.
consider
Yes,
it,
yeah, I do. So
but-
okay, so what's the next factor
I
we
mean,
want
I
to go
hope
over?
one day when you face any assault charges or anything, or sexual assault charges, that you're convicted of a jury that hates your guts. Then they put me in the jury because the first thing I'm going to do is find you guilty.
Right.
Okay.
I want to hear from some other people here. I
Just
wanna
to be
hear from
clear, also
Tim.
real quick. So everything in the indictment, all of your messages about your plans to storm the
What
Capitol, the
messages?
buildings you want to.
Can you point one message? Just show me one message.
Do you want me to
please.
read down the indictment to have you reject everything
I mean,
that's in there? Is
yes,
that what you
please.
want?
Go ahead. We got all night here.
While he's getting that up.
I don't got nothing to do here, bro.
Yeah, while
so if
he's
you want to
getting
look at
that
the
up, I wanna-
indictment, go ahead.
Yeah, while he's getting that up, I
With
just
a
want to hear
6-month
from some of the
trial,
people
right?
in the crowd. I
Yeah.
wanna hear from Tim
Yeah,
here,
tell me
I
about
wanna
my
hear from
6-month
Dev,
trial.
Right,
I'd love
and
for you
we'll
to
get
be a
into there,
professional.
right? So go ahead,
ahead.
Tim, then Dev, and then we'll get you Kung Fu Joe and Gibbs and Grit. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted clarification. The first thing I was going to do was with the speech, because that was the prelude to this. But Destiny, I think he wanted to limit it to specifically saying, for regard, for after the fact. But I mean, are we ignoring the tweets that he gave at 2:38 and 3:13? He specifically does use the words peaceful. He says stay peaceful for the first one and remain peaceful, or peaceful for the second one. So what is the contention about the word peaceful and when it was used specifically?
Yeah, so he made those tweets when there was already violence breaking out. So when he says remain peaceful, that's nonsense, and people were begging him to call people to go home. So like people like Ashley Babbitt got killed because he refused to make that call for people to go home because he was hoping that Congress would break down and give in to the desire for him to have the vote switched.
Congress had already been removed at that point, so that's a stupid thing to say. You know better than that.
Did they not
Congress
come back
already
that
adjourned.
night?
Yeah, they came back later that night,
Yeah,
but
so I think the point was
after
to-
all of the
yeah.
rioters had been removed, sir. I mean, that's
Yes,
a dumb thing
correct.
to say.
Yes, after they removed the
That's a
rioters,
dumb
which
thing
people
for you
wanted
to
to
say.
happen, they came back and they re-adjourned in order to finish the count. Correct. Thank you for doing the logical order of events. So Tario, when you were saying
That's
things,
not the law. Hold
when
on,
you
but that doesn't
wait. So
support
Tario,
what
I
you
just want to see.
said.
I'm just trying to see if these messages are real. So when you posted a message that said "fuck unity, no quarter, raise the black flag," was that a message that you posted in a group chat on November
I
12,
posted it
2020?
on social media, yeah. And I'm 100%. I said that. I celebrated
Okay.
it.
When
if
you
I'm
said
guilty
if
of celebrating
Biden
it,
steals this
then
election,
yes.
the
And
Proud
that was
Boys
in
will be
social
political
media.
prisoners. We won't go quietly. I promise. Is that a thing that you posted?
Yeah, that was in November.
Okay.
That
You
was
need
in
to
November,
remember
yes.
we're at war with a virus, not with each other. No, you need to
Yeah.
remember the American people are at war with you. No Trump, no peace, no quarter, right? These are your messages, right?
When did those tweets happen? Remind me when those tweets happened.
In November of 2020?
In November of 2020, was January 6th an event?
Was January
Did it even
6th
get? Did
an
it
event?
even? Did January 6th? The event at January 6th. Did that ever get announced before November of 2020? Can you tell me the day that it got announced that was going to be a rally?
I'm just making sure that that so far in the indictment you agree to these. You agree to these things, right?
Unless I'm fucking Nostradamus and I know that some rally's going to happen in the future, do you expect me in November to be tweeting about some shit that I didn't even know was going to happen? An event that I didn't even know
Did
was
we
going to
know
happen.
that on January? I'm pretty sure the Electoral Count Act literally calls out the date of the certification of the election, so we all knew in advance when the
December 12th.
certification of the
That's a month before I tweeted that. So yeah.
December 12th was when the election certification. I thought that was January 6th. My bad.
No, it's not January 6th. As a matter of fact, you got that wrong. The certification of Congress, the counting of it happens on December 12th.
Just real quick, I do want to make sure that Tim gets a chance to get in here. He's been
Okay,
trying.
sorry,
Go
Tim.
ahead. No, it's fine. Then Tim.
No, it's
and then
fine.
I wanna hear from, Dev. Go ahead.
Yeah, we knew when the certification was going to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean people knew that the rally was going to happen, in which case you still have to create the nexus between the rally and his supposed urging people to riot, which, that didn't actually happen. But I'm just trying to understand, you're dismissing the tweets that happened after 2 o'clock and after 3 o'clock because they happened after the speech, but in the speech he also says peaceful, but you're saying he didn't direct people to be peaceful, he just acknowledged it. Isn't that
They should have told people to go home because it had already gotten violent.
But you're unhappy that he didn't say specific words?
No, he should. Well, at that point, people should have gone home. He should have said, "You need to leave." It wasn't peaceful. It was a riot at that point.
If he says
So you wanted him
to be peaceful,
the
that
initial contention, my understanding. I'm sorry,
you're,
Grid,
you're
I thought
like
the initial
beyond
contention-
splitting hairs.
I'm not
thought the
beyond
initial
splitting hairs. It's very
contention
easy.
was
So if there's a riot happening at the Capitol, and you have the ability to tell your people to go home, you should probably tell your people to go home.
You wanted him to tell people to go home in the middle of the speech when he says to be peaceful?
You were just talking about his
Because I
tweets
thought
that he
the
made
intention-
hours later at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Which one do you want to talk about?
But I thought you were complaining about the fact that he didn't direct people to be peaceful in the speech when he said, "I know you will be peaceful."
Well, yes, but that's because
I just wanna
I'm
clarify.
just going through the whitehouse.gov J6 site, and I'm going
That's
through the
stupid thing to argue
timeline on the claim thing, right? And the second claim for the Save America rally is President Trump delivers powerful speech. That was just the very first one I was looking at. We can go through the rest of them after. I was just starting with that one.
I don't even think it's worth getting in the weeds of what he
that's
said.
fine.
He said peacefully and patriotically. Like, we don't need a 10-minute discussion on what those words mean and how he meant it.
Sure.
Well, can I-
He also did say, just to be clear, he said we have to fight like hell or we're going to lose our country, right?
Yep.
How would you describe the
yeah,
events?
I think
How would you
so,
describe
yeah.
the events
Yeah,
that
use the word
unfolded
fight like
over
hell.
the next
If I-
over the next 4 hours? How would you describe the events that unfolded? What did it seem was more happening? That people were fighting like hell because they thought they were going to lose their country, or that they were marching peacefully and patriotically?
Mostly
I think
that.
95% of the people, I believe 95% of the people that were there on J6, all they did was walk in. They didn't touch a fucking cop. They didn't break a window. They didn't do any of that. If you want to talk about the 5%, look, I don't agree. I don't agree with the assaults. I've said this. I said this on January 6th in the evening after seeing it. I said it on national television. I said it on CNN, and I said it on Univision. I can't vibe with people assaulting police officers. I think that they should have been arrested. I don't think that the problem was, I still think that they should be pardoned, not for their actions, but because of how
Why do we
justice
care about any of this? I don't know what we're talking
wasn't
about right now. This doesn't do anything.
well, no.
So we
I
agreed that. So
really
I
don't care
heard.
about
I
you
heard.
talking about.
I heard that you said
the president's words.
95% were peaceful. So that means 5%
95% were peaceful.
Okay, so then 5,000, 10,000 people were rioting then, if the president's own words are to be believed, because they say
Is that
100
the number of people?
They say
Do you believe
hundreds.
there were
They say
10,000 people
they-
that walked into the Capitol that day?
on the
Yeah, there was about 100,000 people, I believe, is the number.
on
of
the site they say
protesters.
hundreds of thousands, so 5,000 to 10,000 violent rioters then.
No. I'm asking you, is that the number? Are you citing the number of people that went inside the Capitol or the number of people that attended the rally?
I'm giving what they had as attended the rally on the whitehouse.gov
I'm not
website.
asking what they give you. I'm asking what you know.
I know that around 1,600 people were charged. I don't know how many people went into the building altogether. I don't have the count on that, so I don't know, but that's not
So
really relevant.
you
to
don't know
we're
what the
talking
5. We could just say 5%. We don't got to go with the number because it wasn't
Enrique.
tens of thousands of people that went in.
about. Sure,
It
that's
could
fine.
have been 1.5%, but it was a small number. I mean,
Well, because only a small number of people even got to the building, right? That's how it works. Like in any riot, it's probably like 1 to 5% of people that are being violent, right? There are
There were
no.
probably thousands of people in the building. I was one of them, and Enrique, I think this is, like you said. Well, I would say it's beside the point because if you want to address the violence, it happened in very select areas, and there was a context behind it, such as the Lower West Terrace Tunnel. It actually, one of the biggest reasons it wasn't an insurrection is that it got less violent when people got inside the building. If they were going to, become violent and overthrow the government, we would have been more violent in the building than out. But what you see is that when you review the video, it actually was at very select locations because people were incited. There were provocateurs. I agree with Enrique. Not everybody who was there
Yeah,
was
so
a
to
good
be clear,
person,
the
and
incitement was you
terrible.
trying to break through where cops were. When people were inside the building, they weren't violent because they didn't even know what they were supposed to do at that
What do you
point.
mean by you? What do you mean by you? Are you talking?
I'm speaking
to
the
me, or are you
general,
talking
the general you, because he's talking about the protesters not being violent once they got inside the building, because they didn't have much to be violent against, because all of the congressmen have been evacuated.
So you're saying, so you're agreeing with me and Tim and saying that some protesters were violent. Yeah, I agree with you. Some protesters
I never
were
even brought
violent.
this up. I don't think this point is relevant to anything.
I
In
believe
any
that they should be
protest,
arrested,
in
and
any
I
riot-
believe that they should have gotten some time in prison. Yes.
Yeah, in any
I don't
riot, a small
believe
percentage
that
of
they
people
should
are
have
going to
gotten
be
10,
violent.
20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I do.
And I don't believe it's like you said,
Before anyone else
Destiny.
goes, hold on, just real quick. Before anyone else
Go ahead.
goes, I do want to make sure that Dev gets a chance to have his say.
Okay,
and,
go
come in and give us what he's gotten. I do see Gibbs, Kung Fu Joe over there. And we're gonna get you in here in a second. Dev, go ahead. Give us what you think.
I've just
Was
been listening.
January
This is
6th
kind of
go ahead.
crazy. Just because I don't know who you are, the guy with the green background, but you were talking about Trump's tweets, and I mean, while the riot was happening, you expect a decent, competent, good leader to try to calm people down. That's what you expect them to say. But I mean, at 2:24 p.m., Donald Trump tweeted, "Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify." Now that statement, is that going to calm people down or rile people up, do you think?
Well, I can tell you from my own experience, it didn't rile me up. I actually, at that point, wrongfully assumed when I read that tweet, I was
Why
already
is he
in
answering
script.
from his own personal experience? What are we doing?
because he was there.
Because I was asked, what do you think?
Okay,
What do you think
fair enough.
most
He was
people
in-
are
he was in
doing?
the
How about
Capitol.
everyone else's perspective then?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I think most.
You're asking to give other people's perspective that's not here.
He
Yeah,
can
that's
give
kind
his
of how
own
reality works.
perspective.
We kind of speak for how we think people are generally like motivated by things or what might cause people to do things. Are we incapable
so
here of
He's a people.
fathoming other
Here,
people's
you know
state of
what?
mind? Is
I'm going to
that-
tell you exactly what people thought.
No,
I'm going to tell you
how about let's
exactly
not
what people
generalize to some bullshit. Just stay on the specific things.
No,
Dev asked a
no, I'm
specific
gonna give you
question.
exactly what people
Dev gave
thought,
a
and
specific tweet.
I'm gonna give you
when
my
people saw
specific,
that Pence had failed.
thing.
What did Pence fail? What were
So-
the what did the people do
So
after?
anybody who
Give us your
thinks that the
answer.
only reason, excuse me, I think anybody who thinks that the only reason that people went into the Capitol is because Trump told them that the election was stolen is a retard. I think they weren't looking backwards, and it started with Hillary Clinton in September of
What were
2016
people at the
calling
Capitol for?
Trump supporters
What were people at the
as,
Capitol for?